Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to our afternoon session this March, where we are celebrating women. Happy Investor has always been at the forefront of spreading awareness among investors, and especially we take it as our task to improve the financial literacy among women within our circles and outside. So, some of you are our clients already, some of you are those who are joining us for the first time. Today, we have three of our women investors with us. We have Divya Singh, we have Aparna Subramanyam, and Nalini Devarakonda, who will be joining us this afternoon, and they will be sharing their experiences with us. All of them have been our clients for some time, some for a short time, some for a longer time, but their association with us has been very thick. Okay, so we have our third speaker for the evening today, Aparna Subramanyam, who is a brand consultant and works with us as well as is our client as well. And she will be here to share her part of her journey with us with a specific request that she came to us with. Over to you, Aparna.
Thanks so much, Sujata. Hi, everyone. I'm going to be talking to you about how you can or how you should be thinking about contributing to your parents as they get older. I'm just going to quickly take you through a few points, which is my experience, and I'm sure might be some of your experiences as well. So I've been a client of Happy Investors now for almost 10 years, I think, coming up on 10 years. I work independently as a brand and communications consultant, working with nonprofits, social impact organizations, brands, and corporates. I live with my family in Bangalore, and my goal for this specific ask of Happy Investor was really how I could ensure financial independence for myself and my mom. Because I'd been working with Happy Investor for 10 years, I was already confident in their ability to help me understand how I need to be planning for my goals. I wanted to do something so that I could add to my mom's financial security as well. And I needed guidance in terms of how to structure either my investments to also contribute towards that corpus for my mom, or how I could support her in meeting her expenses so she didn't really feel dependent on me, which would require some of her own money, but also a little bit that I was putting towards that kitty as well. And since I had that concern and I already had a ready sort of advisor in Happy Investor, it just made sense for me to reach out to them to see if they could help help me with this as well. What they did for me was essentially to set up an SIP. And for those of you who are not familiar with what it is an SIP is a systematic investment plan, which means there's a certain amount of money that you're putting every month into a corpus. It automatically gets debited from your account, which means you don't have to worry. It's just something that's automatically going out. So how Dipesh told me about it when we first started was to not think of it as my money at all, that this was the money that was going towards the SIP and it's something that would just grow and compound. And I could look at what it was in 20 years or later, right? So I set up an SIP specifically to contribute towards a larger corpus for my mom. Then what they did was started an SWP, which is a systematic withdrawal plan, which was what they used the SIP that I'd set up was to set up a regular monthly credit into my mother's account for her to manage her regular expenses, which meant that she didn't have to come to me every time she needed something. It also made me feel more comfortable knowing that she had money of her own, that she didn't have to depend on anyone else for whatever she wanted to do, whether that was meet her friends for lunch, travel, buy something for the house, whatever it was. She was free to do what she wanted with her money. And their very simple SIP plan, followed by the SWP plan, provided a lot of financial security for my mom. But what I think it also did, in addition to that, was to ease any sort of anxiety around money that either I or my mom would have had, because I think we underestimate how big a role money plays in our lives when it comes to just financial well-being. And I think knowing that there was a plan in place just made it much easier for me to know how much of money I should be working towards, to know how much of the money is going towards my mom, and that my mom just felt happy that, you know, she had money of her own and she didn't feel like she had to depend on anybody else to pay for anything. And my message to you ladies is that you start with small contributions, which will substantially compound over time. So over a long period of time, and whether that's 5 years for you, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, It'll help you to build substantial savings over time. Obviously, the earlier you start, the better it is for you and the better your money will grow. I do think that it's important to understand the importance of financial planning specifically to support your parents if that's something that you need to do. Because I think that what Happy Investor did was also sort of project finances for me to say what would be my expenses today for a medical emergency would be vastly different for a medical emergency 10 years down the line. And I need to be thinking about how I can pay for it 10 years down the line, right? Which means that you're automatically tweaking how much you put aside almost every year. And I think that I know that I have benefited from getting an expert to manage my finances and tweak my financial plans based on changing life goals, because it's not going to be the same over your lifetime. And I would recommend that you do the same as well, because I do think that having somebody objectively advise you from a third party point of view, as opposed to, say, a friends or a family, no harm there as well. But always good to have an objective third party advise you on how best you can leverage your money and make it go the distance is something that's definitely benefited me. And if you're not already working with a financial planner, then I think that you should consider at least having a conversation to see how they can add value. And I mean, I'm a little biased, so I'm going to recommend Happy Investor. But even if you choose not to go with them, I think that it's worth your while to start thinking about it from a long-term strategic point of view and not stick to just traditional instruments of investment like FDs. But I do think that it's time for you to think about how you can diversify your investments to make the most of how much your money can work for you. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, just drop them into the chat box and I'm happy to take them later.
Thank you, all of you, for sharing your experiences with us. So now I hope that was interesting for all of you. I have a couple of questions that some of our viewers have put in. So I shall pose them to our guests for today. And then, if necessary, I will also step in. So the other question was for Aparna. Somebody has asked if you wanted to set up the SWP for your mother, for how long did you have to contribute on the SIP?
Thanks to whoever asked that question. Again, I think that Sujata would be a better person to clarify how long. As far as I know, it's not stopped. From the time that it's been set up, I've just been putting in money. So it's not like there's been an end goal. I also prefer to just think of that money as not my money and put it into my mom's corpus, because at any rate, it would come back eventually to me, I guess. So I didn't have a particular corpus because it was just for ongoing expenses. But if it was for a specific thing, like maybe a holiday she wanted to take or something that she wanted to buy or an investment in a new house, then I think that there would be a quantifiable time by which that goal needed to be achieved. But since this is an ongoing one, I just treat it as another SIP where I continue to put money into it, keeping a 20 to 25-year horizon. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Aparna. Just a simple mathematics that, whatever you spend today, you will be spending twice of that amount in 10 years. So if your investments grow at a better rate than that, then if you're contributing about 10,000 today, then 10 years later, you should be able to take out 20,000 per month and run it for a while. Specific requirements, we'll have to work it out as per your plan, as how much you really need to generate at a particular. So say 5 years down the line, if you want to generate a monthly income of an X amount and keep that running for X number of years, then we work back and let you know when you need to start contributing and for how long. So you could reach out to us on our numbers and we shall be happy to take care of that as well. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Rachna. Any further questions from anybody else? For further queries, you can always reach out to us on our numbers here. I'm available on 96200 96201. Our office numbers are 98861 98851. And thank you, everybody, for having spared your time to be with us here. And I hope it was an eye-opener for all of you, because for us, it was an effort that we took to, share some information among the educated women, because though we are all educated women, there are some gaps that we always have, and it's always nice to know a little bit of extra information that helps us in the long run. Thanks, Aparna. Thanks, Divya. Thank you, Nalini, for sparing your Saturday afternoon with our guests. And
thank you, Sujata.
We will also be sharing this video with you, so you could share it around with your circles. And for those who couldn't make it today, we will be sharing it out to them as well.
Thanks, Sujata. Thanks, everyone who came out on a Saturday.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Aparna, for everything.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all three of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.